Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Selling with Love podcast. This is your host, Jason Marc Campbell. Today's session is actually something I got so inspired by while I was reading a book from one of our guests that we've had on the podcast before. If you go back to our episode with David Newman, which we will put a link in the show notes for you to go check it out, he was such a fantastic author on the show that I picked up one of his books on something I've been looking to do more in my own business. Pandemic's finally over, right? And a lot of live events are starting to pop up around the world. And myself, I'm personally going to be heading to Dubai to go do some hosting and speaking at a Mind Valley convention. And I was starting to pick up a book so I can do more speaking around the world. And whether you're a speaker or not, what I did find relevant in the book written by David Newman, which is Do It Speaking, talked a lot about the concepts of marketing that I think is going to be very relevant for everyone today. Have you noticed that sometimes you share a lot of content and maybe a lot of people are like engaging, they're loving it, but as soon as you start wanting to bring the conversation about a transaction, about making money or solving their actual problems, they seem to run away. Like imagine trying to approach a cat that you're wanting to feed and you realize that you just want to go pet it and it just runs away and you're wondering what's going on here. And when I started reading this book, there was this concept that I thought hit me so much that I know it's probably something that most of us face as we're trying to figure out what is our target market. And this was a highlight where the difference between what a market is and what an audience is was highlighted through a series of 17 questions you can ask yourself. Now, again, this is David's work, but it hit me so much that I want to speak about it here. And I want you to ask yourself the same question while you're doing maybe your social media. Maybe you've started your own podcast. Maybe you have a YouTube channel, or perhaps you're just out there sending information to a certain group of people that you're trying to potentially generate as future clients. Are we addressing them like they're an audience or as a market? And here's some different things that happen. An audience is there to be entertained, but a market wants to actually have their problems solved. And so for me, I can entertain a lot of people with saying like, hey, you can go out there and sell yourself. But if I speak to a market that I could say, I could definitely make you sell more and generate revenue, is going to be a different tone. It's going to be a different type of person, and they're going to play a different role within my business. Now, one thing I want to make sure you understand is an audience isn't something that doesn't serve any purpose. Matter of fact, your audience can help you generate the social proof. They're there and they're going to be encouraging, but you might realize you might have very large audience numbers, but not necessarily a clear market that you serve. And so how can we start differentiating the two? How can we get to start working on actually defining our target market? And by the end of the show, I'll have an exciting announcement as we come to the 1-year anniversary of the book launch. And I'm going to be doing a special event that will help you with exactly that, getting that clarity around your target market. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go through David's 17 questions you have to ask yourself, or the differences between the market and the audience, so you can see who are the types of people you're attracting, who are the types of people that you would like to be attracting, and you might realize that there is a gap here. So here we go. An audience listens, but a market pays attention. So an audience might just listen, but they're not necessarily paying too much attention. They're just maybe scrolling through it like a TikTok feed, right? Number 2, an audience wants entertainment. A market wants to solve problems. I mentioned this before, but if they're just paying attention and they're having a good time and they like the ideas, they might nod their head. That's a great audience. But a market, they're like, I need to solve this now. Number 3, an audience values an experience. A market values expertise. So if you've been doing, say, webinars and people come, they're like, oh, I had a great time. This was really fun. That's awesome. But a market will come to your webinar and they will validate your expertise and decide if they want you to be the person to solve their problem. Number 4, an audience wants to watch. A market wants to act. Have you noticed maybe some people that are continuously interacting with your content for free perhaps, and they're just always watching what you're doing, but they're not solving, they're not taking action. Even if you make like a $1 offer, they still don't act because they're not necessarily there to have their problems solved. Number 5, an audience wants information. A market wants implementation. I see this in my own behaviors as well. Have you noticed sometimes there's people you'll listen to and you just want to get some information from them, but when you decide that you want to take action on something in your business, you actually want something to be implemented for you. I know for me, building a community was a very important thing, and I could learn about a lot of people speaking about community, but when I made the decision that I wanted to implement stronger community frameworks. I went to find a solution and paid for it as well. Number 6, an audience reacts. A market responds. And so you can get an audience's attention with clickbaits and a lot of things that just get shock attention value. But yet a market is when you speak the right words that show your expertise and that will address their problem. They will respond to you. They will come to you and ask, you sound like you can really help me and I need this help now. Number 7, an audience wants their questions answered. A market wants their answers questioned, right? Have you noticed there's perhaps in your audience people that continually want to have, they ask questions, and you keep answering the questions one at a time, and you're like, yes, I've answered so many questions that now they'll want to do business with me. Well, they're just going to come up with more and more questions, and it's not necessarily the right market you want to work with, because a market will tell you something. And for any of you who are fans of perhaps the book Challenge or Sale, is you want to be challenged to think differently. That's usually why you work with someone, is someone that thinks differently and can make you think differently too. So they will challenge your assumptions. And so you want to ask yourself, when I speak with clients, maybe I'm on a one-on-one call, do I bring into question their own hypothesis and make them think differently? Number 8, an audience wants you to be popular. A market wants you to be right. So if you are chasing the vanity metrics, the followers, the subscribers, etc., the audience is going to cheer you on. They just want you to be popular. But a market, they don't care how popular you are. Are you going to implement the right solution? Number 9, an audience asks, what can you do? And so the audience is always wondering, what can you do? A market asks, what's next or what else? Because they're ready to take action. They're acting on solving problems and they want to implement that. Now, I'm going to go through question number 10, and I'm going to save the rest for people into the community. So an audience says, great show. A market says, great job. That is number 10. An audience, again, wants to be entertained, yet a market wants you to solve their problem. So if you share an information that allows them to apply it, the market responds, and they're like, yes, this is the job I want to get done. I want to get done with you. And I'm going to save number 11 to 17 for the Facebook community. Now, I did mention before, I am building up this community a lot. We're sharing more information. We have live streams, recordings, etc. that are happening there. But already, you probably would have been able to pick up on some of the things that are happening in the way that you speak to your audience or your market. You might be realizing that you may be attracting a certain type of person more than others. I know for myself, I think I've been much more focused on building an audience, and I've been actually working a lot towards building that up for the social proof without necessarily clarifying exactly who my market is. And then every time I start working with clients that are my market, it's more effortless, it's much more profitable because I get to solve bigger problems for them. And the bigger of the problems you get to solve, like sales fulfillment, sales training, which are some of the things that I do, I realize they are much more excited to be able to take action and make that problem be a thing of the past, as opposed to people who just are looking for more information, but maybe refuse to act. And so I want to leave you with this. What question you can ask yourself from knowing about these differences between audience and market is, where are you focusing your efforts on what you attract? Because if you want to build an audience, you definitely need to make sure that you know what skills, value, and trust that you're able to build with a key market first. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we're going to have an exciting event happening at the end of February, which is going to announce the 1-year anniversary of the book launch. It's going to be a brand new Selling with Love challenge, which is going to focus so much on you gaining clarity to identify, attract, and close your ideal clients in your perfect market. It's going to be something super exciting. And if you're not yet in the Facebook community, this is exactly where we're going to be announcing how you can get started, how you can participate. There's going to be thousands of prizes that are going to be given away for this 1-year anniversary. So you will see a link to join this community in the show notes below. It's going to be on Facebook/groups/Selling with Love. I hope to interact with each and every one of you there. And of course, we're going to go deeper into making sure that you know what your market is. If you're wondering what question 11 to 17 is, well, I want to save a bit of the good stuff inside the community. So I hope to see you in there. We're going to talk more about it and have a conversation more than just listen. I want to encourage you to act as well. My name is Jason Marc Campbell. Thank you so much for tuning in. Pay attention to your market. And of course, go out there and sell with love.